Hello, good morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be. Today, I'm going to do an orchestration live stream based on a live stream I did last week. So last week, I took a section from Harry's Wondrous World from John Williams' Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone score, and did a score reduction. So basically figured out how can I get everything that's on this huge page that looks very complex into a simpler, easier to read format, and brought it down to 5 lines instead of however many we see here that looks like a lot. And so, let's see the chat on. What I want to do now is take that reduction and use that as a reference to use a different melody and orchestrate that melody and see if we can get a similar result, kind of that nice big orchestral sound, but on a different tune, basically. So the melody I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use Zelda's Lullaby. Partly I chose it because it's in 3/4, just like the model we're using. It's in kind of similar-ish style as far as tempo and mood and all that. And then it's just kind of easy. It's easy to work with. There's a lot of room around the melody. So I want to use that. The first thing I want to do real quick, let's look at the reduction and just listen back one more time to the original so we can see what it is we're actually comparing things to. So I'll get Dorico open here. All right, so here, it's just a moment before this excerpt starts, and we'll take a look. So just a short little bit, but it's very John Williams-y, and it's that big sweeping orchestral sound that we know and love. So I've got here already written in the melody and the chord symbols for the tune. One thing I'd like to do first, just to keep this kind of within the same range as the Harry Potter, make sure we're actually showing Dorico. Yep. So the Harry Potter, the melody is kind of middle C up to like this E up here is roughly where it goes. And ours is a bit higher than that. It's like a fourth higher than that. So I'm thinking of bringing it down. Let's see, we were in this range. So the key of, what if instead of the key of G, we did the key of C? We just brought it down fifth. So I'm going to take this whole thing. I actually don't know the short code to transpose. So I'm going to select all. We're going to go down a perfect fourth. Interesting. Does that include the piano? You're saying, sorry, there's a comment that the music is not coming through as well. Is that true for the piano, or is that mostly just the John Williams? I'll keep going and we'll find out, I guess. So we're going to go down a fourth. Again, the reason for that is just to put us into a closer space to the reference that we're using, just so we know we're going to get a similar result. So instead, similar thing. So let's see. The first thing I want to check, the phrasing in the Harry Potter is a lot of legato, accenting certain high notes, but mostly slurred. So let's see. I'll probably go easy enough. Got the slurs. Our dynamic was forte. And we had a swell into kind of the second half of each phrase. So let's do that little swell again. Make sure we come back to just where we were. And then that last guy swelled even further. Piano's a bit better. The problem is with the John Williams. I don't know. I think I'm using the same setup as I did last time. I'm sorry it didn't come through as clear. Hopefully, is it a volume issue or just kind of crackly? I don't know. If it's a volume, I can easily turn that up. And hopefully, as I go with the Dorico, because that's where we're mostly going to be, it's just the playback from here. hopefully we'll be fine. So the next thing we may notice is that this melody, the main line was doubled an octave higher. It's actually an octave lower. It's a little hard to read what this says. Let's see if we can see it in a slightly better mode. The main melody was on the violin ones, flutes, and oboe, a very high octave, a second oboe, English horn, viola in that middle octave, and then the cellos and horns an octave lower. So we're going to mimic that. I think just for notation purposes, we'll show it just the octave up. We could do the octave below. It's not too crowded, and we won't. We'll stay out of the way. Next thing I want to do is this bass part. So this part before, we're going to do something similar. This is be an octave lower, I guess. It's a simpler bass line. Let's see, up the octave, boom, boom, boom. That'll be all pretty similar. Oops. Oh, no, wait, I want boom, boom. Come on. Boom, 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 boom. And then we'll want a little whine here. Is when so make sure it fits. Think about what we've got going on. Come back over to piano. That would work, I guess. Oops, my octave on my keyboard is off. Using all pitches that are part of that chord, the A7 over G, but emphasizing the G because that's our main note there. And then what does he do there? Note, rest, note, hold, out, bump, bump. So mimic that. Bump, bump. I want that to just be an F natural. Why does it have to look like that? We're going to switch to arco there. So we've got our main line, which I'm not going to rewrite. It just makes everything look so messy to write it in, but we'll reference back what instruments it is. But it was violins, winds, and horns for the most part. Then we've got that pizzicato bass line in the contrabass. Next, let's do these chords. So these chords are voiced. God, everything is in the way all the time. Did I lose a note? I did lose a note when I did that. Just trying to hide that so I can see. Okay, so our voicing for these trombones and the tuba. See, that tuba is very low. We're down here, all below middle C, and it's kind of wide on the bottom and a little tighter on the top. So we're going to do a similar voicing, but I guess we're starting on a different chord, so we're going to go a little higher. We'll go with that instead. Notice that the chord is G major 7, and we have that F sharp in the melody, so I'm not going to be duplicating that down in the trombones here. We don't need that, basically. Let's see, we want bass clef here. It'll be easier to read. Clef, and you are going to be. So it's pretty. So then this is basically a held. Oh, he does a little suspended thing. Yeah, we could do that. We could go. That'll be perfectly fine. All right, and I'm gonna do the simple thing here. Copy these over and conform them to our chord. So the one that moves is actually this line. What happened? That wasn't what I had before, was it? How did I end up with more trombones than I started with? That should work. And then this line is the same as the bass line. So, and then this one is just a held chord. If we're doing an A7 over G, we're in this range, we'll probably want this. So we're basically looking at then we'll go to the F sharp, and we're just half notes there. Ooh, is actually out for the rest of it, which is kind of interesting. But these are just some nice fat chords. What was the chord on the original here? It's an A flat over C. So we could get, so we want the 7, F sharp minor 7. That would be perfectly fine voicing, I think. D minor, probably 7 flat 5. So over the F, D minor, we'll go with, and let's put the D in there because it's not even in the melody. And then what do they do for these last two chords? Jump down to 2 notes in a simpler line, which is interesting. It's interesting we lose the bass on that chord as if the bass doesn't matter. And I think it kind of doesn't. So that's where we are, and the chord is. We can do that suspended thing again. Let's repeat that note. Oh, he holds the suspend. Yeah, that's actually a nice idea. Hold the suspend. Extra beat. Why did it die? Yeah, this would be easier to just. No. That would be an easier way to have that performed. Let's think about this. Maybe we'll do that. I think that will work. Let's see, I don't need this bar. And then we're most of the way there. We're most of the way done with this passage. The next thing is the woodwinds. And so we had 2 flutes, 2 clarinets doing this. These lovely little arpeggios, just arpeggiating the chord based around the, the chord that we're using. So we'll do that again. And so easy enough. We want 3 in the space of 2. And How do they do theirs? It leaps up right at the beginning, right? That's very active. Oh no. Come on. Be in the space of 2. No. Not quite. He doesn't just do that, he does kind of a... What does it do? And what does he do here? That should work. And these are all slurred except for the very first beat. Okay, and then, oh, I see. Nope, thought I was having a mic problem, but no, just need to turn my volume up. Then we've got this nice little run, and we've got these little cool little licks. So the chord on that would be this F sharp minor 7. That would work perfectly fine. Let's copy this over. And we go for a D sharp there. Will sound better on that F. Yeah. And then maybe move this down so it's... We'll do that. Go for the D. Oh, off the screen share. That's interesting. Thank you for keeping me informed. Really need to find another streaming app. Just haven't had a chance yet. All right, here we are. So I'm just filling in these little licks. We'll go with that. They rest for bar, and then we have this nice little run, which is kind of outlining the G chord. So in this case, I think it's a G7 there, and we have an A7 here. So the only tweak we need to make is make sure this are C sharps. Oh, they are. Right, so that should be fine. Cool. Let's bring up some instruments. So let's add 8 bars so we can do this in a... Oh, don't add 8 bars there. Okay. Separator here so we can see what we're doing. All right, so 20 minutes to take that melody and, well, 20 minutes to chat a little bit, look at the other thing, and then take the melody and, you know, orchestrate it using this exact same style, just copying exactly what we've learned. But this is so much easier to look at this and be like, okay, what are the horns doing? What are the winds doing? As opposed to looking at that whole entire score, and you're kind of ending up going more instrument by instrument. So now I want to throw in some actual instruments. So we'll get our full body of strings. We'll get brass, which, what do we want? How many horns did he have? Probably a lot. 4 horns, 3 trumpets, 3 trombones, and a tuba. So brass 4, 3, 3, 1, 4, 3, 3, 1. That'll work. And then the woodwinds, we wanted double winds, I guess, even though he's not using most of them. Well, he's using the flutes, the oboes, English horn, and clarinet. So yeah, I guess we want that. And triple, we'll do triple, and then we probably won't use everybody. I'm gonna move. For some reason, in Dorico, when you add instruments, maybe there's a setting for this, but it doesn't, for me, automatically go into orchestral position, which I find a little annoying. So I have to reposition everything. I'm going to keep everything from the orchestration line just down low. Do we have a piano? I'm going to check the score for a second. There's a harp run into this section. There's a harp run out of it, but we'll go without that right now. There's also on this figure right here in the original, it's doubled on piano, which we could do because we have a piano, but not critically important, I don't think. So now let's grab our melody. We know we want this, the main sound edit. Grab. Main sound is on that violin. Let's see. Why isn't violins 1 and 2 are that higher octave? Excuse me. As well as, let's see, what did we? Flute and an oboe. Flute and an oboe. And then it was an octave lower on another oboe, an English horn, and a viola. So we'll grab it on the viola. And then that will be on that second oboe. Whoops. I see what I did there. Oh, that is actually kind of accurate. Oh well. Okay. Don't want it on that flute. That flute's doing our arpeggios and stuff. It's the other flute. Technically, it's a third flute. I think we'll go with just that one is fine. Let's throw this guy on our flute and clarinet. 2 clarinets. And then that run is also the same. So these instruments are actually out for these all go down, and then these are out for that second phrase. But the clarinets do that line, which only I need the top note there. Clarinets do that line. Of course, I got a whole bunch of text on it. Do that line in octaves. The oboes do the same thing in octaves, and it's on the English horn. And then the flutes, 2 flutes in that range. Okay, and then our bass line is pretty much already written. It was already on a bass part, like that. Our tuba is this friend here. Sorry, I missed our horns from before, right? Horn is also doing our main melody line with the viola. Is it with the viola? Range. Many horns are doing it. 3 of them. And did I get everybody? Bassoon is tacit. Yep, bassoon doesn't play anything in that part. Trumpet joins in on the second phrase when those oboes and things hop out. at this range, I guess. How many trumpets? Just one trumpet will join us for the party here. And then it's actually marked mezzo piano, which is kind of surprising. I guess if it was loud, it would just become like, hey, everybody, it's trumpet time, and overpower everyone, which is a good point. Let's see. These guys are actually mezzo piano as well because it's a background part, so we want to make sure it remains backgroundy. And you guys are... And then what is the main melody? Mezzo forte on the main melody on the winds. Strings are forte. Everybody's good. And I think that's everything except for the brass. Why did they change dynamics? Oh, they're out. And then they're in octaves. We got these two an octave higher. And let's grab our trombone part. Select the bottom note only, give it to the bass trombone here, except for you. Grab our... I'm going to put this here as a placeholder. Grab our edit filter. Bottom note only is now gone. Edit filter. Top note gone. Could have done this slightly smarter. Need to learn a shortcut for getting these bottom notes. If anybody knows the shortcut for grabbing the bottom or top note in a chord, I would love to hear it. Some chords, bottom note. All right, so I haven't previewed anything. It's kind of the point. I was tempted to maybe like, let's listen to the melody now. Let's listen to this now. But instead, let's just hear how the whole thing came out. What does it sound like with all the pianos? Probably crazy. Not great, but now let's hear what it sounds like with the whole shebang. Now, there are a few little details that are minor, but you know, I think they add. Certainly add some sparkle. So like that little piano thing is doubled in the original score. There's a harp gliss into this first chord and then out into the next section. This chord is actually in the original score. The trumpets kind of join in on this suspended thing. So, you know, we could spend another hour kind of going over with the fine comb all the little changes, but this is the main thing. The main idea was, you know, like, hey, this sounds really great. How does this work? Let's reduce it down to something manageable, something we can kind of wrap our heads around. And now let's use it instead of just like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, now let's actually use it. So hopefully in theory, the next time you have a melody, you have like a nice simple tune with chord changes, you can be like, oh yeah, I know that in this range, I can have this in octaves. And behind those octaves, I can have this moving flute clarinet part that's going to just kind of blur into the background. You know, these nice big fat brass chords and the pizzicato, just one section on that bass down there, you know, supported by the tuba. But let's see how this came out. All right, so for some reason we got, I don't know why, things get grouped together sometimes. So the strings dropped there. I don't know why they needed to drop. It was pretty clear to me that there was a big drastic difference in the volume there. So I think that may just have been that mezzo piano by accident. Cool, so I'm not hearing that, and I think it's a note performer versus like real players thing. I'm not hearing that at all. I'm really not hearing these arpeggios at all. Let's see. It's just the melody is so doubled. It's better. Let's hear everything without the strings for a second. And what did I do to my poor cello over here? Why is he not participating? He was supposed to be an octave lower. So just let's go section by section. I guess here's just the strings. So you can tell the melody really overpowers the bass line, but the bass line is so isolated on its own, and it's this light pizzicato thing. It's not really supposed to be equal. It's not, you're not supposed to give every voice the same amount of power. The melody is what matters here, so it makes sense that would be what stands out. And then just the brass. Nice, and then just our woodwinds. Let's see. So I actually remember this from the original that we had transcribed that flute clarinet part in the background, and then we go listen to the original recording, and it's just like, wait, what? You can barely feel it. It's really subtle, and it really does get, especially behind the strings, it really does get lost. I think if I was mixing this to be produced and try to put this out there, I would definitely bring the strings down a bit overall in the mix, and try to bring those up just so you can even feel them. I mean, right now you can barely even feel them. But let's give this one more run through. It's MIDI, so it is what it is. But I get the same feeling. That to me feels like a big soaring John Williams-y orchestration piece. It feels appropriate to that style, and it works. It sounds good. So that's about it. I will not be doing a live stream next week. I just have a couple projects I need to catch up on. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep these up, to be honest. So let me know in the comments if you want to keep seeing these, and I will decide going forward. We'll see. So perhaps in 2 weeks, I will keep you guys updated. I think that's about it. This was a pretty easy one, which I'm glad. I mean, that was kind of hopefully part of the point. This was a pretty easy one. So thank you guys for watching, and join me on my main channel, which is just Ryan Leach. Join us on Discord on the 12 Story Music Academy, and hopefully you'll see me here next time. Thanks.